Hi, this is Frosty and I'm Roberta, and we're living the urban farmer life in the city, and we're going to help you grow what you know about fall seed that's available this year. I ordered these from Amazon because I wanted to see if there was an easy way for people to get their fall garden started, and these seem to be perfect options. Just to remind you guys, if you hadn't seen these already, these are some beets, some red Russian kale, dinosaur kale, some green lettuce, spinach, Italian flat-leaf parsley. This is maybe not the best for starting in fall, but I'm in Southern California, so I think that temperatures probably in the 80s today, so I think these are going to still grow pretty well, and then they'll last throughout the winter time. And then these other packets, we'll go through them one by one to see if you want to. You can just order one pack, and I'll probably go through the ones that might be the easiest to start out with. And I think it's going to be this one. I am going to start these, and this is now the first week of October. Ideally, you could have started them maybe even 1 to 2 weeks ago, but they would have taken a lot of watering. But now the evenings are pretty cool, and so I was watering some other kale that I'll show you in just a second. And those have sprouted really well, and I only watered those maybe like once every other day, and I think actually for the past 3 days I didn't water them, and they still look fine, and I'll show you what they look like. But these are a different set, and those were actually the kale from this. There was the dinosaur kale and then the red Russian. Now this packet has, I believe, 7 different ones, and compared to what I got in Home Depot, and I'll admit that when I was at Home Depot taking a look, there was a shelf with all the seeds, and everything was really picked through, so everything was like in the wrong section where they're supposed to be, and I wound up spending probably even a half an hour just going through that, whereas like for this one you can just order it and then get all the really appropriate ones. So you can see there's a Swiss chard, and then there's a spinach, lettuce, gourmet mix, arugula, some kale, and this appears to be some, it says blue veggies, which actually don't have, so, and it looks kind of a little bit curly. And then there's some lettuce butter crunch and Lola Rosa, so a red leaf. Now headed lettuces like butter crunch are probably the better ones to start during the fall time, but I think you can try different things out, because I think one of the things that's really great about gardening is that every single urban plot is very different because of just the trees that you might have, the buildings that are next to you, and just the local climate in a particular area in your garden can be completely acceptable for some of these when they would just not grow even in a neighbor's down the street. So don't feel like just because someone says that you can't grow it doesn't mean you really can't. I think you should experiment, and you can hear there are tons of seeds in here, so if you have any friends, these are really good to be able to split with other people, and then that way you can get a lot of different crops. And my biggest problem is I've even tried to do some seed exchanges, and I haven't been able to get the momentum up, so I'm really hoping that this coming 2020 is going to be a way when I'm showing videos and putting things on the blog that people are going to get more excited. And I really want our yard to be a kind of a showcase for what's possible in an urban garden, so that'll be fun. Ooh, and look, things are just falling out, so let's see. Oh, this one, so it's the spinach seeds, and so you can see how much seed is in here. I don't know if you guys can see, but that is a ton of seed. I mean, if you want to grow little baby leaves so that you can have kind of like a new lettuce leaves that are really tender for eating raw, that's really great. Otherwise, a lot of these you can just let grow, and then you pick leaves over and over from maybe multiple plants. From our chard, even just having 2 or 3 chard plants allows us to get huge leaves. I mean, like leaves that are probably 2 feet long, and so even 2 of those leaves can make a dinner for a couple of people. So this is going to be great. So this looks like it's going to be a winner. I'm going to start some of these and show you what they look like probably in the next 2 to 4 weeks when they've started to sprout. Now this would be the next pick, because this has the 7 different ones. This one has 10, and this one has 20. And I think unless you're in a community garden or you're just really ambitious, having 20 different types of plants is kind of tricky. I think if you're trying to start an early challenge for yourself, you could plant a different seed every single week, and that will give you a really great option. If you're going to do 20, you could try to start all 20 in different rows, but I still think that that's, you know, asking a lot of yourself. I think you want to start things if this is kind of the beginning, or if you've, you know, kind of had some trouble keeping up with all of your crops and seedlings. I would just do one a week. You know, every week, if you plant something different, at the end of the year, you're going to have 50 different crops, and that's something you can be very, very proud of. So let's see what's in these. I think they also come with some labels, so let's see. And I'm going to show you what happened with my kale, because I was bad and I didn't label, and it actually got me to the point where I'm like, I can't believe I didn't label all this, and I thought like 5 days later I'd be able to remember, and I was totally wrong. And so I'm going to show you all the labels that I got, and that'll be a separate video, but all I can say is label, 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 label. And let's open these up. So this is really nice because it's got a Ziploc, and then that way everything's going to stay nice and dry if you're planning on saving some of these. All right, and so then this is their little booklet. So it has all the different types of plants that they have. So let's see. There's a Swiss chard. And again, these are in plastic bags, so maybe not the most ideal. But there's some Swiss chard, lettuce, some arugula. And I think arugula seed packs are kind of funny because I probably have, you know, maybe a half a pound of arugula from my last batch of arugula that I went to seed in the front yard. So this is like almost silly that there's this much arugula, but maybe I'll give it to someone. Or I can also compare it to what I planted and then get an idea of which one is better. Then Noble Giant spinach, some iceberg lettuce. That'll be fun to kind of grow. I've never done that. More butter crunch lettuce, some bib lettuce, Paris Island romaine, some dwarf Siberian kale, and some red oak leaf. Okay, and then there's that little packet that we just saw. So that's a good variety. Again, really great for someone who's getting started. And again, they gave you enough of these little plant markers, which look like plastic, but they look to be a good size, so that's always good. Now, white plastic kind of looks not so pretty in the garden, so I did get a whole bunch of other labels. So sometimes it's good to be in a pot until they get a little bit bigger, and then that way it doesn't look a little bit kind of, you know, plasticky in your cute yard. All right, and then there's this packet, which is the almost ridiculous 20 pack of greens. But again, green things are going to grow really, really well in the yard during the fall time for Southern California. And then you can consider some of this kind of when frost has broken in your area, if you're living in a colder spot. You could always do these in the shade in the summertime, but you do need to be careful because sometimes these are easy to kind of dry out and get more bitter if it's really hot outside. And so again, they come with these little packs. They've got their little description of all these. That's amazing. It's actually a good, man, these are like a lot of different. Okay, let's not get distracted. I love reading material. Oh my gosh, look at this. I think this whole thing was maybe $15 or $20. So again, it has the Ziploc pack to make sure that everything stays dry. Oh my goodness. Okay, so New Zealand spinach. So this is great if you're a permaculturist or someone who wants an evergreen type of crop. So these can just give and give and give. It's a little bit more of a dense type of spinach, and it's good for sauteing, and you can also just put it in salads and different types of sandwiches. But let's go ahead and see. Oh my goodness, there's so many seed packets. I'd actually say if you're just getting into gardening, that this is a really great pack to get. One click on Amazon and then you're done. I'll leave some affiliate links below so that you can try them out if you want. So dwarf Siberian kale, Bloomsdale spinach. I actually haven't tried that either. Red oak leaf lettuce. Paris Island romaine. Butter crunch. Hanson lettuce. Turnip purple top. Curly pepper cress. That'll be interesting. Some blue curl kale. Some more arugula. Green oak leaf. Prize head lettuce. A Mizuna mustard. So that's nice. Jersey Wakefield cabbage. So cabbage gets to be really big. So I think unless you have a really big plot, you want to make sure that maybe give these to someone else, because cabbages can take sometimes up to 4 feet, because the leaves themselves are very large, and then the head is actually quite small in the center. So to be able to like get a head of cauliflower that you can really eat, you need to dedicate a lot of space. So that might be a little bit tricky, especially in an urban plot that's small. Here's some southern giant collards. Those are amazing. So I would recommend collards for everyone, because collards are just great to eat. Bok choy cabbage. So bok choys are very small, so that type of cabbage you can definitely grow in an urban garden. Swiss chard lucullus, and then Cimarron red romaine lettuce, and then finally some Detroit dark red beets. And beets are always great. I think this is interesting. These are very small packs. So if you're getting started, this is a great way to try out a few different things. You can take a few seed, and as long as you're labeling it, you can put them in different areas of your garden. Say you have something in the backyard, front yard, or side. You can then put a little bit in all the different spots and see which ones grow the best. You really want to experiment, and I'm actually going to go through a journaling method so that you can keep track and note what's going on, because I think that's the best way to kind of really understand your plants. And I think it's something that I love to do, and I haven't really dedicated a journal to my plants and to the farming that I'm doing, and I'm going to do that this year, because for some other projects it's really made a huge difference in terms of being able to reflect, keep track of things, and really know what's going on in your garden. So that is these packets. Again, a 7-pack seems like a really great starter. Then there's the 10-pack, and then there's a 20-pack. I would say if you're super new, or you're really busy and you're not sure if you're going to get to planting everything, this is probably the best pack to get. It doesn't come with the labels, but again, the labels are little plastic ones in the other one, so they're useful, but they're not going to be the cutest things ever. I'll go through some different labeling methods in another video. Let me know if that would be of interest to you. If you want to hear about something specific to one of these types of crops, you can let me know, and I can focus a video on just how to be successful with a particular one, kind of what you're going to look for, and then I can even put some recipe ideas in there if that's of interest. And I'll leave those affiliate links below again so that you know about them. And again, if you want to know about journaling and keeping track of things, this is actually the journal that I'm going to be setting up. Okay, and I just got a pack of notebooks, and this pack of notebooks came from Michael's, so I think it was only $1 or $2, so it's kind of crazy. And then this will be the main notebook that I'm going to use to journal about all of the plants that I put in.